Welcome to the History of LA Ska one-on-one sessions. I'm Junor Francis, and I'm here with my producer and good friend, Eric Kohler. Now, this series celebrates the ska, rocksteady, and vintage reggae scenes in Southern California and beyond through insightful conversations with legends and modern-day talent, including those behind the scene. A lot of people are working behind the scene to make this highly successful. So whether you watch us on TV, YouTube TV, or listen as a podcast, thanks for your support. On this special episode, we present part 2 of our Boss DJs Roundtable, and we want you to help us welcome 3 prominent women selectors from Southern California and thereabout. LadyEye, Rude Blue, and Terry Dactyl. With my producer, Eric Kohler. So I am going to say welcome, and Eric, you should do the same. And
Yeah.
why don't you get the lead out question?
Junior, thank you. And welcome to everyone out there who's listening and watching. Ladies, welcome to this podcast, History of LA Ska, one-on-one sessions. And again, we have LadyEye, Rude Blue, and as Junior was saying, Terry Dactyl, which also known as Jess Lipsky. Jess, welcome. Rude Blue, LadyEye.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely, thanks for being here. And as Junior mentioned, yeah, this is part 2. We've been wanting to do this. Thanks for everyone's patience here. And this is a first for Junior and I, where we're doing this together yet apart. And I'm going to try to do.
Well, first time apart, right?
First time apart, yes. But we're going to do this together in the sense of kind of tag teaming this interview, and we're going to have some fun. So with that, let's get started. Junior?
Yes. So, ladies, I think we did say we were going to start with LadyEye. So, LadyEye, where were you born and raised?
I was born in the UK and I was raised in Switzerland, the United States of America, and Mexico.
Multiple places?
Yes.
I guess the same thing would go for Rude Blue. Where were you born and raised?
I was actually born in Riverside, and then I moved to San Diego. So I grew up in Escondido as a kid. And then once I became like a teenager, I moved to the IE, to Inland Empire. And yeah, and I'm still here.
Nice. Terry, last but not least, Dr.
I am the outlier here. I am from the Bay Area, born and raised in the East Bay. Currently coming to you live from there too. I'm currently based in Brooklyn, New York.
Presently based in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I could use some volume on your.
On mine.
Right.
Let's see here.
Nice.
I could change my speakers or.
No, I can hear you. How about you? The rest of folks, can they all hear you?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's perfect. So with that, next question, we're obviously, this is a music podcast, and we all have probably varying tastes in music, but for the purpose of a lot of what we'll be talking about here is Jamaican music or Jamaican influenced music. So with that, what is your first and earliest memory of discovering Jamaican music? Do you recall that moment? And with that, let's start with LadyEye.
I do. Yes, I was living in Orange County. I believe it was in 1998, and I first heard Jamaican influenced music. It was the Hepcat album, Train to Skaville. So that's where it all started.
Yes, Hepcat. That's a great place to start. Rude Blue?
Yeah, with Jamaican music, I would say maybe like my freshman year of high school. And like any typical pothead at the time, I first heard of like Bob Marley, the typical all-known type of reggae. But with more like with rocksteady stuff, I actually didn't hear that till a few years later, from a a skinhead friend I had, and he was the one that introduced me to Alton Ellis. So that was my more introduction to like the more underground type of reggae.
Giant of rocksteady, yes. And Jess, how about you?
I think Bob Marley is definitely somebody that's just floating around in the ether of popular music. So that was probably something I heard before I even knew what I was hearing. But I remember being about 14 and a friend of mine in drama class giving me a CD with a Slackers mix on it. And it was mostly songs from Red Light, and I really dug that rocksteady sound. And probably around the same time, I don't know how, I heard Hepcat, and it reminded me so much of soul music that I liked. I dug a hole and then never came out.
And that was in New York?
That was in California.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure how my friend found out about the Slackers, but I do remember exchanging mixtapes, and I gave her one of the Cramps, and that has been very influential to both of us ever since.
And with each of those discoveries, meaning each of the three of your discoveries of the Jamaican music, did you pretty immediate get fixated and fall in love with the music and start digging back, or was it years later when you became more into the music, so to speak? Well, LadyEye, going back to you.
Well, I lived in Mesitlan during high school, and my classmates formed this band called the Borbotones. So we were mostly a cover band. I clearly remember hearing Bad Card, a rendition of that, Bob Marley tune by Begonia Bang Matu. And that's when I realized, well, this sounds like a Bob Marley song. And that's when I began to, dig and research. And that's when I realized that all these songs are either a version of rhythm and blues of the late 50s or 60s, or even versions of, reggae music, Bob Marley tunes and other artists from Jamaica.
Mm-hmm. Rude Blue, how about you?
I want to say yes. And during that time, I was also really into ska music, like Latin ska. I had cousins who introduced me to like ska core and just more like newer type of ska music. So I became very involved in that, and I would just start going to like shows, backyard shows, and at some point I started throwing backyard shows too over here where I live at. So that was fun. I feel like it has impacted my life in a big way ever since the start, I guess.
So backyard promoter, musician here.
Well, I wasn't a musician. I think that's.
No, so sorry. I meant for LadyEye. Yeah, but that's excellent.
Yeah.
Yes?
I was hooked immediately. I grew up listening to a lot of soul music, a lot of oldies, and loved vocal harmony groups, big bands, horns, and to hear that in like an up-tempo way that was kind of punk, which was also something I was into, just really struck a chord with me. And like Isla, I started getting into these more contemporary bands and realizing that like, oh, they're doing covers, and some of them are very similar, some are very different, but it was so much fun to dig into that, and also kind of like tickled my journalism brain, and like it's this beautiful never-ending well of knowledge that was immediate.
Nice.
So what was the first ska, rocksteady, or reggae artist you saw perform, and when and where? Back to you, Isla.
I ended up becoming an event organizer in 2018, I believe it was, thanks to you, Junor Francis. So the actual legend I saw live was Pat Kelly.
That was your first? No, first live concert.
That was my first live concert, yes.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Nice. It's a great one.
So that must have been at Las Globas.
Yes, that was in Los Globos around August of 2018.
And that was a hell of a baptism. As a matter of fact, it was Pat Kelly's last concert here on planet Earth before he joined his ancestors.
Wow.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Jessica, you were there.
Yeah, that was
You
a
wrote
great
an article.
show.
You wrote an article.
I
Yeah.
remember Jessica brought her records. I think you had a gig that day.
I
You
did.
said, "Can you hold my records?" I was like, I
Oh.
have no
I've
response.
got to ask you to hold my
I'm a
records.
poor woman.
I also remember asking if there was a coat check because I brought a coat and everyone was like, this is Los Angeles. There's no coat check.
Of course, a New Yorker would ask that.
Or a Bay Area, like you always have
No,
to have
that's
a
true.
light
Bay
sweater
Area,
with
yeah.
you. God forbid it gets
Yeah.
foggy.
Right.
Yeah, but that was a beautiful show. I felt so lucky to have seen that. I'm sure we all did.
Yeah, it was last show. So Rude Blue, were you at the concert?
No, I wasn't. I think I was,
You knew of the concert?
no, 2008. I don't think so.
No, not 2008, man.
Or when?
2019, man. Just before the pandemic. 19. Yeah, I think so. 2019. Yeah.
Was it for the Pat Kelly show?
Yeah.
No, I wanted to go, but I couldn't at the time. So I actually missed out on that show.
Mhm. Yeah. And you won't see him again.
I know, sadly.
Incredible singer.
Junior,
and
don't yell at me, but I missed that as well.
But you have seen him before. And
yeah.
you more.
Yeah.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah.
So I suppose I guess, well, three of us had the good fortune of seeing him live for the last time. Mhm.
Yeah.
Eric, want you to throw out a question?
Oh, Rude Blue, did you answer the Junior's
Oh,
question?
no. Actually,
Yeah.
she did right. Her
Right.
first live concert. My apology. Your first live concert, and who was the artist?
So I'm trying to remember. So I think the first Rocksteady concert, or band that I seen, I think I had to be like the Debonaires, because they're from here in my area. So
Yeah, that
when I
makes
was
sense.
Mhm.
so when I was old enough to finally like hit up bars and venues, at age 21, I think they were one of the first like rocksteady traditional ska bands I ever got to see play in person.
Right. And what was your reaction?
Pretty amazing. They sound really good, and I'm actually friends with a lot of the band members, so it was a really cool experience. It was a lot of fun, a lot of dancing.
Have you gone to very many concerts since? Or you're not a concert goer? You mostly go to, I suppose, turntable style events.
No, I go to shows a lot. I still do. Yeah, I guess, yeah. I'm a big music lover. I love live bands. So it's definitely one of the things I like to do.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Kohler.
Jess.
The first like rocksteady or ska band I saw was I'm guessing Hepcat. It all kind of blurs together, but they came up to the Bay a lot in the like late 90s, early aughts, and would play Slims all the time. And that was like a band that if they were in town, I was gonna go. And I have lots of happy memories seeing Hepcat.
Yeah, they did some amazing shows at Slim's. I saw them up there a couple times.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've seen them on New Year's a couple times, and I can't possibly think of like a better way to bring the new year in.
We might have been at the same show. Agrolites opened once New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
That was a great
Excellent.
one.
So you're a concert person necessarily, Terry, Dactyl, or you primarily go to turntable events? Because a lot of people in Jamaica, the reason I'm asking, a lot of people are not into live concert. They just want to hear music.
That kind of seems crazy to me. I can't imagine not going to see live music.
If it's not part of your culture, like when I grew up in Jamaica, there were no shows, there were turntables.
I mean, I think I love going to shows. I'll go to as many as possible, but since I've moved to New York, I've noticed that the like show going culture is a lot different, and venue culture too, compared to what I'm used to. So I think I do see more DJs than I do live music. But I think if I really like had a choice, I would probably flip that ratio around. And in the summertime in New York too, it's like best time for live music. There's stuff happening constantly. So I'm really excited to get into that season.
or I guess have the best of both worlds, see live music, and before the show starts and in between the sets, you can see some great DJs, right?
Exactly. Oh yeah. I mean, it's like such an art when you get to see like a DJ who's keeping the crowd so hyped and like hyped to match a band that people are hyped about.
Yeah.
That's some skill.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about how you guys hype the crowd later on.
Yes. And before we get into that, so when we touch on this briefly, but let's talk about, so as you were going to these shows, whether it's a live concert or DJ events, the scenes and the culture, right? It's very unique compared to other forms of music, right? Like if you talk about the ska, rocksteady, and early reggae scene, and for LadyEye, for you, I guess for Southern California, or even beyond, wherever you've lived over the years, touch on some of what you've experienced and what you've noticed is unique about the scene.
Well, we were all kind of exposed to, I mean, at least I was, to bands like Sublime, No Doubt, Hepcat, Slackers, and all those bands. But we really, at least I really didn't know what it was all about until, I was part of a band and, I did my own little research. But what I noticed was, like my whole life, I thought Sublime was singing his own tunes. I have to admit, I didn't know until later that those are Toots and the Maytals, that's Bob Marley, that's this, that's that. So it was kind of a surprise for myself and for a lot of people I know, but with time, instead of some, I noticed how some in the scene just kind of keep it a secret, like, oh, like, it's actually this, it's that Alton Ellis, it's actually a Jerry Butler, and, and they kind of keep it a secret. But what I love about now is that more and more girls are out on the scene. My friend Jenny here, I noticed her spinning at these gigs. I was like, wow, this is amazing. We should, be friends and share tunes. And, I've seen more and more people uniting from different areas of Southern California these past couple of years. Maybe it has to do with the pandemic, I don't know. But yeah, it's been great. It's been very, very, a great experience to see different generations. Like,
Yeah.
She's in her 20s. I'm in my 30s. I'm not sure how old Jess is, but, it brings together all generations, all ethnicities. And I think that is amazing. That's magical.
Yeah, very, very well said. And Rude Blue, you touched on Riverside in Los Angeles, but talk about what you've noticed in the scene.
What? Sorry.
What you've noticed in the scene.
So I noticed that it varies from city to city. It's kind of crazy. When I started throwing shows, or even going to Becker shows, I noticed that every county had sort of their own way that they dress, their own way that they dance, their own way how they skinked, and the skinking pit. I've noticed a difference. And then with more the traditional ska and rocksteady scene, I've noticed, there's more people who are involved who are rude boys, rude girls, and the skinhead subculture and stuff like that, which you don't really see too much out here in IE, more in LA. And what I really like about it is that it's very, it has to do with everybody, there's different type of people there, different ethnicities, everybody's just there for the music, and nobody cares what color skin you are, or stuff like that. So it's pretty cool seeing just a variety of people. Not everybody has to dress a particular way to love the music. Most of the people who are there enjoy it, and
Yeah,
that's what I like about it. Yeah.
nice.
But I had no idea you'd throw concerts. Where are some of the places you throw concerts?
This was a while ago. I believe I threw them for 3 to 4 years. I started
That's a long time, man.
Yeah, I was really young. I was
What's some of
19.
the artists? What's some of the artists?
A lot of them were just upcoming, ska bands, skacore bands.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gotten like
And what part of town? What city?
some of them were from Los Angeles. Like I've gotten La Infinita, I've gotten Get on Fire. They're more like Latin ska bands.
Nice, nice.
And then out here in the IE, of course.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
Yeah, but that was from like 2013 to like 2016, I believe.
Nice. Very cool. Jess?
I think Isla and Jennifer both brought up awesome points about unity and diversity of community, and also like the unique parts that like every city and every sort of like micro scene has, and that's something that I've always found really inspiring and interesting. Coming from the Bay, where I think is like rooted in this like super like punk subculture, and this sort of like soul scene really blends over to the ska and rocksteady scene, and getting to admire all of the collector culture there, to seeing what's in LA and being just like so overwhelmed and excited about the like range of bands that were playing, like in ska core and in like a trad sound, and like getting to see all of those musicians and what they were playing compared to what's happening in New York, which is like a little bit later and a like its own mix of like music and DJ focus. Has been just like really exciting and inspiring to see as a fan and as a writer. I imagine that every style of music has such, or I wonder if every style of music has such diversity and such passion of people like across ages and generations and ethnicities and like all the things. I feel like you could really find yourself in whatever you want to with this music.
Mm-hmm. That's also well said. Passion, the passion for the music. Yes. Mr. Francis, who is one of the most passionate people I know. Junior, you're up.
So I've noticed that all three ladies have grown tremendously in DJ womanship. Is there such a word? I'm making this up for the time. Womanship. DJ, right? Have grown tremendously. So the question is, when did you become a DJ and why you become a DJ?
That's a great
You don't have to
question.
be in any particular order. Anyone can answer, as long as we have all three of you respond.
I have this answer at the ready.
There you go.
If we want to go in a reverse order here.
In reverse order.
Why did you become a DJ and when?
I grew up on the radio, and I would listen to our oldie station
radio.
Yeah, the actual radio. I listened to KFRC every morning before school and called in, and like I loved the personalities. I listened to our like Art LeBeau type program called Sunday Super Oldie with Tony Sandoval every Sunday religiously, and I wanted to do that. And when I was a freshman in college, a different college nearby was looking for DJs or for volunteers. So I started volunteering at KUSF, and then like 3 months later had a show and did that for about 7 years. And I loved being on air, and I like learned how to mix, and I learned how to research, and just picked up so much new music, and loved the sound of my own voice on the radio, like the only person in the history of the world who does, except for maybe Junior. And once I was old enough to start spinning in bars and clubs, I started doing that, and just sort of grew from there and further developed my like record collecting sickness. But yeah,
So you must have an amazing collection of music. 7 years on the radio. You had to supply your own music, or the station supply?
Well, I had a new music program, and it was like a late night program, so I could play 50% whatever I wanted, and then 50% from stuff from the station, or some sort of ratio of like new music to whatever I brought. So they had great stacks. KUSF had been around for a long time, no longer on the air. But I had a big education digging through their music, and
I'd be remiss to ask you if Ska and Rocksteady made it onto your playlist.
When did it make it onto my playlist?
Yeah, rocksteady and reggae.
You know, I was always there in the form of like CDs and stuff, but I'd say it was definitely within the past 10 years that I started building my own collection of like 45s and mostly 45s, fewer LPs, but now I find it like infinitely easier to build a reggae set and to spin like a reggae set than I do soul music, even though I think I have more sold records. And that's my other primary thing. But I think I kind of feel more passionate about ska and reggae than anything else. And I just want to bring my whole box.
So you voluntarily left radio?
No, I didn't actually. KUSF was like shut down in this super secret deal between the University of San Francisco, which housed it, and the University of Southern California, which was trying to turn a failing for-profit classical station into a non-profit classical station. And they bought the signal for $4.7 million, didn't tell anybody. And I had one of the last shows on air. They came in like 3 hours later, turned off the transmitter, kicked all the DJs out and brought in the cops.
Oh.
And it was a pretty big deal up here in the Bay Area, and turned into this like years-long legal battle. I did some like radio stuff or online radio stuff with them, and then also with KPOO, which is still on air on 89.5 FM. But then I moved to New York and did not get involved in radio there. But I gotta say, radio in LA is like the best. I listen to Morning Becomes Eclectic all the time. So and KPFK and other great things.
Nice.
Same question. Why did you when and why did you become DJ?
Rude Blue. Rude Blue, you want to go next?
Oh. Yeah. So I first just started out with just collecting records. I never really thought I was gonna be spinning them for the public or for events. And it started off, once I was old enough to hit up bars, and Mono used to have an event called Sound Clash Sundays here in Riverside.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always go to support, because I was getting more involved with like the traditional type of sound instead of like ska-core or like Latin ska. So I would go to those to support, and then eventually the guys from there just told me like, hey, like, do you collect? Like, if you collect, just bring your records. And I was like, oh damn, okay, like I guess, so I do remember like the first time me spinning, and they just kind of taught me right off the table, and I remember I was so nervous. But after that, I guess everybody really liked the stuff I was bringing, so they just kept on asking me like over and over, like, yeah, bring your records, bring your stuff. And at that point I got more serious about record collecting, so I started buying more records, more 45s, and then soon after that I got asked to spin in other places, like more towards LA. I've spun in Oakland before, I've spun in TJ, and yeah, it's just crazy. Music has really taken me places, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yes. LadyEye.
It all started when I was probably a kid, and my dad bought me those, the cassette player where you can press the record button and record a whole tape. That's where it all kind of started. But I was kind of impervious to old school methods and vinyl. And I remember Junor Francis would tell me, oh, it's vinyl, this is it. And it wasn't until you, Junor Francis, gave me, I think it was a Ken Booth album on vinyl. I didn't even have a turntable. I didn't even know what that stuff was. And I bought a turntable shortly after, and I remember I had it in the corner of the house forever until, I was like, okay, how do you do this? What do you do with this? And, I started, getting more into vinyl records. But I believe the whole DJing thing began when we were driving Derek Morgan to, I think it was Reggae on the Mountain. And he was listening to we were driving in my car. So he was like, wow, that's Errol Dunkley on this label and that label. And this is a really obscure tune. You should do this, Isla. And, Derek Morgan said so okay, I might just do it. and that's just how it all started.
You do not want to disappoint Eric Morgan.
I know, no, and I had to put that record to use, the one Junor Francis gave me, and he gave me my other ones as well. But as far as, I just thought, well, I was just a bit intimidated. It just seems very outdated until I actually heard the vinyl record, and and then I heard the 12-inch. That was even more amazing for me, to listen to music like that, and it was just vinyl. It sounds different.
Yeah.
Everyone can argue and convince me otherwise.
I love hearing the backstories. So I guess the quick follow-up to that question is, how do you feel like you were welcomed with open arms? Did it take some convincing? Did it take you a while to build up the confidence as you were DJing?
It took a while. It took years.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel open arms, no. It took a lot of work and persistency more than anything, because I wasn't planning to go to other communities. I wanted that here in the Valley where I live right now. So I wanted to create my own scene. So it took a while. It took now, we have this reggae collective, Sounds and Pressure, and there's a huge following. We packed the place 2 weekends ago. But yeah, it takes some time.
Yeah. Rude Blue?
When I first started spinning, I did feel like they did welcome me with open arms, I guess. And I think just because I was already supporting their events, and the scene out here in Riverside, it's pretty small, so everybody kind of knows each other. And yeah, what was the other question?
As far as you and the confidence and getting into this, into the swing of things as far as DJing and selecting.
Yeah, in the beginning, I wasn't confident, just because a lot of my other friends, they had way more experience than I did. They were older than me, so I always felt nervous. But as time passes, I guess I feel a little bit more comfortable with it, but I still get nervous no matter how long I've been doing it now. And I think I've been spinning for like 6 years now.
Yeah. Junior still gets nervous.
Oh yes, are you kidding me? You should see me up in Portland this past weekend, because one of the guys had computer, and a computer have 1 million songs, and I have to follow him. No, I mean, he just pull up records and he just go and flying left, right. That's not easy, just a small stock of records.
Right.
Yeah, and yeah, you just have to draw the powerhouse selections that with my soundtrack over the years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Jess, how about you?
I mean, I certainly felt a bit nervous, like when I started DJing reggae more regularly, because I came up around like so many deep collectors, and I definitely like gained confidence since. But in terms of being welcomed with open arms, I felt like it was a bit of a mixed bag, at least in the Bay Area, and I'm sure this is sort of endemic to all scenes. There was like a fair amount of sexism. And I felt like I would often go to shows and I'd start talking to like skinhead dudes about records or asking like what tunes they played, and they would never answer me. They would always look at my boyfriend and answer him. And I'd be like, no, I'm sorry, he's here because of me. Or like from like skinhead girls who I'd see at shows all the time. And then like, well, just because I don't have the Chelsea doesn't mean that like we can't be friends, or, we're not into the same music. So, just little bits of like friction like that. But I think generally people who see that you have an interest in something want to like share in that passion.
Yeah.
And I've certainly like in New York felt pretty like welcomed with open arms.
Is there, to that point, obviously the New York DJ scene, I'm sure, is just as competitive, but are there big differences?
Yeah, I would say so. Just in terms of style, like I feel that I hear a lot less like skinhead reggae, like traditional ska, rocksteady out there as much as I do like dub and dance hall and rub-a-dub and that sort of thing. Lovers is much bigger. Though that said, I played a gig in San Francisco like a few months ago, and it was like a whole lovers night, and I was so surprised. I'm like, whoa, they're into like later 70s stuff out here. And then I just realized it's kind of like it's a new generation of like kids who are going out and listening to reggae. Like people are in their 20s, they're not in their 30s and 40s, or people that were in their 20s are now in their 30s and 40s.
Right. Yeah.
So it only makes sense that things continue. But I do think that perhaps just because of the style of New York, because there are more like Jamaican people out there, they're into sounds that are a bit more contemporary. And by contemporary, I mean like 30 years old instead of 40.
30 versus 50 years
Yeah,
old.
exactly.
Yeah, right. Junor?
Yeah, so what are some of the clubs and events you often DJ? Lady Ella.
We currently are DJing at the Scotland Yard pub. That's over on 22041 Sherman Way over in Canoga Park. We are also doing a show with Wise Owl and Brian Wallace at the Corbin Bowl on September 17th.
Brandon and Dub Robot, yes.
Yeah, Dub Robot and Brandon. There you go. I saw Brandon perform at the Scotland Yard pub before the pandemic, and I was so obsessed. I told Junor all about him, and when I saw him doing these new projects, I was like, "Yo, we have to bring him out. This is what LA needs."
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been. Sounds and Pressure has definitely tried to bring out bands like Dapper Rebels. We brought out Dapper Rebels not too long ago. Amalgamated.
They're domestically grown?
They're all local bands, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And Amalgamated
you have played at numerous places, right? I see your name and flyer a lot recently.
Yes, and there's also the Derek Morgan show coming up. That's very big.
Yes.
Big deal.
But, I mean, places you have played. I mean, not well, future, yeah, but I'm saying you have played at some other places, right? I've seen you.
Yes, residencies. We currently have Sounds and Pressure is currently DJing at the Offbeat, the Scotland Yard pub, occasionally at the Corbin Bowl, and sometimes also at Liquid Zoo.
And
it's all in
DJ
the San Fernando Valley.
is presently a part of the
yes.
Sounds and Pressure, right?
Yes, she is.
Mm-hmm. So Rude Blue, your turn to burn. What are some of the clubs and events you often DJ?
I've been invited to a lot. So currently, like Isla said, I'm a resident now with Sounds and Pressure. So we have our event at the in Canoga Park in the Valley area. Mm-hmm. So I recently started spinning there. The other places I've gone would be I've spun at the Melody Lounge in LA. Also Footsie's Bar, the Offbeat with Sounds and Pressure also. What else? I've spun at the Love Song Bar too. And then out here in Riverside, the Mission Tobacco Lounge and also the Concert Lounge. And
that's not even half, because I met you in Fullerton, and then I think that Fullerton, I forget the name of that club.
Yeah, that place was called Two J's Lounge, I believe.
There you go. Right. Michelle was the head honcho there that she brought us.
Yeah. So I've been there.
Whittier, I mean, who would probably need all night long to list all the places you play.
Yeah, I think that was called the Uptown in Whittier.
Yeah.
Also,
Mm-hmm.
I've played also at the Union, which is I believe like a big like venue in LA. Mm-hmm. And where else? I played at the Uptown in Oakland.
Called Crybaby now.
Yeah. Did you hear the name, huh?
Yeah, I just went there for the first time on Friday and to see Suavecito Soldi's like anniversary party, and it was cool. Wow. It's pretty much the same club, but as it used to be.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I guess it's renamed that. I've also played at the Broadway bar, and I believe that's in downtown LA.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, I know where that is. Right, that's a swinging club.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's I don't know. I've been to
Well,
a good amount of.
hmm
I've been invited for a good amount of events.
yes, indeed.
That's
Terry,
all I can think of right now.
Dr.
Um,
Where are some of the clubs and events you often DJ?
Well, whenever I'm in LA, I spin at Funky Soul, which is like always so much fun to play a floor like that. Wow. Play at Gold Diggers, and I played at Love Song Bar, and at Love It Pavilion once. That was cool, opening for the Expanders. Um, and in New York, I've had a few like monthly events prior to COVID that are still sort of like getting back on their feet with regularity at various bars. But there's a soul party called Soulfinger that's like part of the Empire State Soul Club out in New York. That's super fun, and I've played. And in the reggae style, my friend Ciro has a weekly party on Tuesdays called Santa Salsa, or sorry, it's called Trench Town Tuesdays at Santa Salsa in Bushwick, and he always gets a real nice mix of local DJs and traveling folks playing a variety of reggae. And I have a gig tomorrow at the Makeout Room in San Francisco for a party called Version Excursion, which has taken over pretty much for a long-running party called Festival 68 that I used to go to with like a religious intensity.
From coast to coast.
From coast to
Spreading the
coast, yeah.
spreading the
Tighten it up
gospel
and
of-
rock and steady, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Right.
essentially, ska, rocksteady, and reggae, or
Ska, rock steady, reggae, soul, funk, like 60s to like mid 60s, mid 70s, soul and funk, and also boogaloo and some cumbia, just depending on the night.
wow.
I have a bunch of salsa records too, and I'd like to get better at playing those out. I listen to them at home a lot, but there are so many insane salsa DJs, and I am intimidated. Low-key.
Right.
EK.
Yes. So this is one of our fun questions. We're gonna peel back, go behind the curtain, so to speak. What is one or two of your secret weapons, songs that always gets the dance floor going?
Hmm.
Who wants to go first?
Since your
We just
microphone
cover
is
the
open.
labels and show you them.
You take it, Isla.
Well, I guess the one I use as like my weapon of choice it's called Dub Specialist on the Bionic Dub album part 1. And that really trips out everyone. They all get in. And I usually play it right at the end when no one wants to leave. So it's kind of like, hey, I know this is cool, but get out. So yeah, it works. It works. Usually dub tracks work at the very end of the night to kind of, everybody out.
Yes.
Yes. And I guess the next, so 2 songs, right?
Sure. Let's go with 2.
Okay. Jimmy Cliff, Wonderful World, but in Spanish.
Ooh.
That one really like
Oh,
entertaining.
I don't know if I know his Spanish, the version of that song.
Yes, there's definitely.
I'm gonna write this down.
That's called draw a card. Nobody else has that.
Nice.
Secret record.
Rude Blue, how about you?
So the records that I like to play, I guess to get everybody dancing, I will have to say probably traditional ska. I notice a lot of people get more like jumpy, more dancing mood when there's ska music. And usually what I switch it up to, in order for me to get people to dance, I do like playing, which is a very well-known song. I like playing Al Capone by Prince Buster. I feel like that one, a lot of people are very familiar with it. So the dance floor always kind of gathers up more with people. with that song. And then lately I found out about this other song, and it has a traditional ska sound, but it also incorporates like a little bit of Latin ska. And I recently found it on the 45, and it's from the band Jamaica 69, and the song's called Olvídame, which I guess means like forget about me. And it has a really nice beat to it, so I really love that song, and it's one of my newer records that I like playing also.
I'm writing this down, not to steal your strategy, but just so I can listen to it.
Mhm.
Nice.
I don't know if it was the same song, but I was just at that Trenchtown Tuesday gig, and one of my friends played a Jamaica 69 record, and I was like, whoa, what's that? I don't know if it's
The name
if
of the
it was
song
the
is
same.
Jamaica 69.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
was
think it's from Mexico, right?
From Guadalajara.
Yeah.
Jalisco.
Okay. Yeah.
it had like a black label or something with white writing on it, and there were like a few of us who were all like, whoa, what's that? If I'm playing some like trad stuff, or maybe want to like cross over from an R&B tune, I love to throw down John Holt's version of Sea Cruise, and except for the fact that it like has a really long horn whistle at the beginning, so you have to start it like a little bit later.
John
And
Holt.
yeah, it's just like really like sort of a pump up kind of tune. I found it with a blank label at Superior Elevation Records, and it's like,
Wow.
what is that? And if I'm trying to sort of, if things are like simmering at a like more mellow temperature, I've been playing a track by another friend, this MC and DJ, Johnny Go Figure, out of New York, called Dread Situation. And it's just super rad, super heavy, and he like is singing in a number of styles over it. Another friend named Brett Tubin, he put it out on his label Channel Tubes, and I feel like every time I play that record, like somebody comes up to me, it's like, what is that? And I get to like say, these are my friends, and that's always a nice feeling.
Nice. Yes. This is great for discovery right here. I'm learning a lot. Junior, I saw you writing.
I can't. What was the name of that Jimmy Cliff tune that you said again?
It's called El Bello Mundo, La Bella Gente. It's beautiful. I think I have it.
Beautiful World.
But
so it's a Spanish version of Wonderful World, Beautiful People.
Yes, it's the Spanish version of that tune. Actually, I have
well, you know, there's a certain amount of danger in telling people what songs you draw. Because, you know, I was telling a friend of mine that you know, his set in real life, we were at an event and the person was just playing songs that he likes. And I said, you know, when you came on the Wheels of Steel, everyone walk out. I said, that's not the objective. So, you know, I said, these are my songs. And so the next time I saw him at an event that wasn't a reggae event, he had the songs that I brought, you know, as my floor stopper. He pulled them out of his bag.
So, Junior, did you take that as a compliment or a threat?
That's a good way. I'm very competitive when it comes to selection. So.
Well, we'll put a disclaimer that people shouldn't steal these tunes.
No, but that's how we learned. I used to go to dub club night after night with my pen when they were upstairs, pen and paper. And people think I'm taking girls' phone number, you know, pre-cell phone days. No, I'm writing down the songs that move people on the dance floor, so I could play them on the radio.
Right.
Junior always has his little notebook, and the minute he looks.
Right here in the pocket. I know it well.
Yes, it's Phillips on Phillips label, called El Bello Mundo de la Bella Gente.
Excellent.
That's the Jimmy Cliff.
That's the Jimmy Cliff. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Excellent.
And where's the label? The label based where?
Phillips, I believe in Colombia. think
There's a
this was recorded
Phillips
in
in the
Colombia.
South that used to put out a lot of soul records. Am I
Mhm.
right, Jessica?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Sun
That's-
Phillips, yeah.
Mhm.
But I think this is probably different.
Totally different. Mhm.
Yeah, fascinating. Okay, Junior,
Mhm.
you're up
Yes,
next.
yes, indeed. So, what's your most valuable vinyl, either because of its rarity or because it was worth a lot of dead press? In other words, in English, a lot of
Mm.
value, monetary value. What is your most valuable vinyl?
I believe it's an Al Campbell record. I have it's a 12-inch. It's called Jaw Love. Jaw Love by Al Campbell. Yes. Mhm.
Mhm.
I remember I heard that song at the Dub Club. Tom Chastain had played it, and I had a little video clip of it, and I couldn't sleep for weeks. I asked every reggae head I knew, including Junor Francis, who is this? And the closest I got was Al Campbell, until I had to literally jump on the stage in a dress and like, hey, Tom, I need to talk to you, please. And he's like, what's going on? I was like, what is this? He's like, oh, that's Jala of Al Campbell. I'm like, okay, thank you. I can sleep now.
Nice.
Yeah.
How about you, Rude Blue?
I want to say probably this 45 record I have. It's by the Paragons.
How much it
and,
cost?
It's called Left with a Broken Heart.
Oh, how much is it cost?
Nowadays, I'm not sure. Probably, for sure, it has to be over $150 because it's on the original label. It's on Duke label. So I know a lot of like rocksteady and traditional ska, especially if they're on original pressing, the price they've gone extremely high up nowadays.
You're not kidding.
Yeah. Jess?
I don't know what my like most valuable record is. I tend to not like drop a ton of money on records.
How much is considered a ton?
Like more than $50. I don't know. But I have a lot of records that have like deep sentimental value to me, and like one of them would be like Roland Alfonso's Best of album. I think that thing cost me like $15, and the cover is pretty shot on it. But it's such a beautiful
That's a lot.
yeah, and I shout out to Record City for, I was just like thinking I wished I had that record, and I found it in the Stacks there, which is my local record store in Brooklyn. And I've seen like a lot of friends perform his songs, and it just like makes me feel so at home. So I have like lots of strong feelings like that have deep value.
Yes.
But if $15 is, I guess, a lot, or 20, I mean, that's how much the average 45 is going for now. I was at an event recently, and this guy was selling some Treasure Isle, what do you call them, repress, for $15.
I've never been like, I mean, I'm a journalist. I've freelance for a long time, so I didn't have like a ton of stable income, and definitely like not a lot of stuff to spend on OG press records. So I've never been of the mind that like I had to have the original pressing of something. It would be super cool, and if I had the money for it, maybe. But I want to be able to enjoy the music. And I certainly have friends that have like $100, $200, $300 records that they like bring out every so often. And that's cool. But I've never particularly prized that myself.
Yeah.
So subject of, go ahead, Kohler.
No, maybe we're going to say the same thing, Junior. You go ahead.
So while we're on the subject, where can we get inexpensive reggae 45s to buy? Since you folks are still shopping.
Oh, well,
Is there a place?
Oh,
Or you
yeah.
have to go multiple places?
I mean, I think you can find many very well-priced reggae 45s at Record City in Flatbush, Brooklyn. A mere 2 blocks from my house. Very dangerous.
Any Scan Rocksteady?
Ska and Rocksteady, dub, dancehall, roots, whatever your heart desires. You can find good stuff. Mhm.
Wow.
And you can find good stuff at Superior Elevation, at the record shop in Red Hook, through a number of dealers, and that's all I'll say.
What, Rude Blue and Lady Isla, where do you buy your music?
The cat took your thumbs.
Did I say too much?
Nobody's divulging their secret.
No, it's not that. I was just trying to see who's gonna go first.
Oh, sorry. All right, you
Sorry.
go. You go, Rude Blue.
Me, well, I usually, it's hard to find rocksteady and traditional ska, especially at record stores. They don't really have a big selection of reggae. So I usually have to look online if I do want reggae. And I've gotten a few off of Discogs, but even off of Discogs, a lot of people sell them for pretty expensive.
Yes, ma'am. I second that.
But I've been lucky enough to also buy records from like people I personally know. So, you know, they just decided to get rid of some of their collection. So, you know, I've been lucky enough to buy it off of them for not too expensive. You know, and I guess I've been to like Amoeba and I found like a good amount of represses, 45s. So
And how much is the average price
for
a single 45, specifically Ska Rocksteady?
If it's a repress, it can go as cheap as like $15.
1.5.
Yeah, 1.5. If it's original,
That's another question. We want.
That's just it varies.
The sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Lady Isla.
Discogs.com.
Comes around. You can hide, but so.
I believe I bought some off eBay and others discogs.com.
Right.
Nice.
So I guess there's no one set place that we can get for those of us and for the benefit of our listeners who are still interested in buying 45. There's no one set place. I guess Discogs and
Discogs.com. Yeah, Discogs, Amoeba. There's near here, there's this place called CD Trader. They don't really have a reggae collection, but yeah, you have to really dig at CD Trader. There's also Freak Beat Records nearby. Yeah, just local record stores.
So it becomes like a full-time job if you're actually looking for these rare 45s.
Yeah.
Digging through the crates, right? As they say. What advice would you give to aspiring DJs or maybe people who are record collectors that want to dabble in DJing and selecting?
To be patient, to trust their gut, and to not do this alone, to try to reach out to their community and, go to record swap events. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, we went to this record swap, and before you know it, Rude Blue was spinning her records. I mean, you just have to go out and meet like-minded people, go to these events, so forth. Yeah.
Cool. Rude Blue?
For people who want to get into spinning, I guess for the public, I would just say like work on your collection, I guess. Figure out what kind of style you want to spin, and maybe if you can, like if you have a friend who has 2 turntables or something, maybe get a little practice in. It really helps when you have like a consistent flow with the music, and just have fun with it. Like don't stress out too much about it. and you just really have to go out there and meet people, make connections. That's how, I guess, how you land gigs and stuff.
So are there opportunities out there for women from what you've seen since you've been around Southland? Perhaps more so than the other DJs?
For women, I want to say yes. I have noticed it's a little bit harder, just because you don't always get taken seriously, especially by, like our counterparts. I've noticed that with me. I think because I'm a bit younger than a lot of these other folks. They kind of don't take me too serious. But either way,
you'll get more work because you're younger.
I think it varies. I think yeah. I think maybe some people want like more like the new generation, and then other people see you like you're not experienced enough. So I guess there's both sides.
Both sides to a coin.
Jess, how about you?
To jump off that point, I think that women love seeing other women DJ, and I would like hope that anybody who's listening to this and is like, I don't know if girls can do it, really takes that into account. Like, I think women dance harder when they see other women behind the decks. They buy more drinks, they tell their friends to buy tickets. I think you guys both made great points about building community, going out to events, talking to people, getting practice in. I also think like, don't be afraid to own what you're into. You're gonna want to go out to similar nights, but you don't have to have the same records as everybody else. Just be passionate about like the tunes that you do have, and read the room. Like, don't have crazy ass transitions unless that's the vibe. Keep it flowing and like just do what you want to do, play what you want to play.
Yeah, that's more wonderful advice, and we should make sure that our listeners and viewers know that episode 36 was our very first Boss DJs Roundtable, where Junior and I spoke with DJ Queen of Hearts, Elizabeth Mix It Up, and Scarina. So that's also a fun interview. So we encourage you all to check that one out as well, both on YouTube and as a podcast episode. Mm-hmm. Junior, over to you.
So outside of DJing, how do you keep yourself busy? LadyEye.
Well, I recently discovered this website called tunebat.com, TUNEBAT. And what I do in my spare time, I try to learn my music. Not all of them are on that website, but if you do want to kind of learn more about your music, the beats per minute, the major, what scale it's on, the Camelot system, all that good stuff. All you do is you type in your song, and it even not just does it give you the reference of what you need to know about the song, but it also gives you songs, recommendations of like which songs to play afterwards based on, the notes and the beat. And I've been, I curate my own little sets of music that really helps me kind of know my music when because you're not supposed to write a playlist, you kind of have to improvise. So like when I do go out, I have the tunes in my head. I'm like, oh, this one goes like this one goes like that, and it's easier to please the crowd.
What was the name of that site again?
Tunebat.com, TUNEBAT. Nice,
thank you. No, I love it.
Community. We're all a community, right?
That's right.
And so we learn each one teach one. Didn't Shakespeare say that?
Yes. They say Plato once said, music is a more potent instrument than any other for education, because rhythm and harmony find their way into the inward places of the soul.
Amen.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yes. So Rude Blue, outside of DJing, how do you keep busy? I was fairly reliably informed that you're back in school, or perhaps you never left?
Yeah. So I spend my time. I do go to school. I work full time. Other than that, on my free time, I love spending time with my friends and my family. And I just love going out. So I do hit up events. Any kind of style music. I don't. I love it. I love a lot of different type of stuff. So I don't stay just like in one spot. But yeah, I guess that's it. I do feel like music revolves around a lot what I do. When I'm not spinning, I'm going to other events or seeing like live bands and stuff like that, and just hanging out with friends.
Mm, wonderful. Wonderful way to pass your time. And what are you studying, may I ask?
Right now, I'm going towards social work.
Fabulous.
Nice. DJ Terry Dactyl.
In my non-pterodactyl life,
Yeah,
I'm a
there's such
music
thing as
journalist.
non
In
downtime.
my post Jurassic life, I really don't know what period pterodactyls are in. I should know that. I'm a music journalist, and I'm a senior editor at for the Grammys. And
Congratulations. That's a job you got recently. You got a job.
yeah. I've been freelancing for them for a while, but that is a new role, and first staff role in a while. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of work. I freelance a lot as well. And that means that going out to shows is work and DJ nights is work. So I also enjoy going out a lot for work purposes. I love dancing to all kinds of music, spending time with friends. I really enjoy history. So I like going to museums whenever possible. And I love to travel back and forth to California a lot. And I recently went to Colombia for the first time, which was amazing. I got to see a lot of ska there too. Yeah.
Nice.
I read on occasion.
Jess, I have a follow-up to that. You didn't get a chance to mention it, and but I'm fascinated by it because I'm also a big fan of soul music. But you wrote a book.
Oh, I did. I may or may not casually have it right here in front of me.
Let's do a little show and tell. It ain't retro, Daptone Records and the 21st Century Soul Revolution. What was the genesis and the story behind that?
Soul music is my first love. And when I was DJing at KUSF back in the day, I came across a Sharon Jones, the Dap Kings record. And it just like flipped a switch, changed my whole world. And I learned that there was this whole scene of contemporary bands that were playing in this style that I really loved, that I grew up listening to, that like I wish there was more music of. Yeah. And I just started following that vein and digging deeper. And I've been reporting on these like groups for a long time. And I was at the Funky Soul Weekender in LA when a friend asked me if I had ever thought about writing something longer than an article. And I was like, do you mean like a book? And he's like, yeah, I like a book. And from there, it just sort of went off. And I spent the majority of the pandemic writing this book, and it came out in August.
And did you, yes, congratulations on that. Did you interview a lot of the like Bosco Man and different people involved in that whole scene?
I sure did. I spent some time out in Riverside at his house and studio, interviewing, speaking to him about Daptone Records, the record label that came out before, Desco, what he's doing now with Penrose, and speaking to a variety of major players in the Daptone family, and also the soul scene at large. It Ain't Retro is a story about Daptone Records. It's a bio of the 20 years that they've been putting out music, but it's also a study of the contemporary funk and soul scene. And Los Angeles is a huge part of that. So there's a lot of local voices in there too. Yeah,
and definitely similarities between that scene and this, the ska rocksteady early reggae scene. I mean, I remember vividly first time I saw Sharon Jones standing in line for the El Rey Theater. Right behind me, Danny Holloway, Roger Rivas, like a number of people from the from the LA scene that obviously are kind of dabble in both both of those scenes, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, Sharon Jones was an incredible artist, and got to see her last show at the Hollywood Bowl too when she was on the Hall & Oates bill. But yeah, congratulations on that book.
Thank you so much. I think you bring up a really good point about the reggae folks in LA who are also at those shows, because there's this is all like older music that's like beautifully sung, beautifully arranged, and like hits your heart in this particular way, right? And I think that there's a shared like love of and appreciation for music that came out in this time, and like doing it justice and doing it in this style that's like perfectly imperfect. So you see Hepcat and you're blown away, or the Agrolites, you see Charles Bradley, and it's like getting punched in the gut. So just performers that have like massive pull and emotion.
Yes, very well said. Junor?
Yes, we're pretty much coming in for landing. What else would you ladies like to promote or spread the word about? Any upcoming events of your own, of friends that you play? The question is very broad. Again, any event you're promoting, you would like to promote, events you'd like to spread the word about, now is the time.
Considering it, I'm not entirely sure when this will air.
Within days. Within days.
Within days. Okay. My only gig is tomorrow coming up, so I suppose I will not promote that. But I would love for people to keep their eyes on like the New York scene, groups like the Far East, and labels like Channel Tubes, like Names You Can Trust Records, Johnny Go Figure, et cetera, et cetera. And if anyone's ever in town, Trenchtown Tuesday at Santa Salsa. For my own stuff, I write a lot about ska and reggae music, and a lot about soul for the Grammys and for other people. So my last name is out there. Please look me up and follow me on Instagram, which is interview_Boogaloo, for more in the subcultures. And
you have written about I know you interviewed Pat Kelly. Any other ska reggae artists you've interviewed?
Oh yeah, Pat Kelly, Agrolites, Hepcat, the Slackers. Slackers one I was really proud of. It was in the Washington Post a couple months ago. The Far East, Kombolulu. I will be interviewing Derek Morgan tomorrow for the LA Times, and I'm thrilled about that and nervous.
They consented.
They consented. Many thanks to Junor for hooking that up. But yes, I will take questions that I should ask off the air.
That's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
where can people find the forthcoming Derek interview, considering that he's coming to Los Angeles?
It'll be in the Los Angeles Times, but in August. I believe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right,
closer to the show. So Junor, I need to schedule an interview with you too.
Wonderful.
Isla?
Yes.
Lady Isla?
Yeah, you can find me at the Scotland Yard pub every last Saturday of the month. And the upcoming show with Wise Owl and Brian Wallace, September 17th. Also at the Derek Morgan show, August 20th. Which other show? Oh, and I believe I will be doing a show in Minneapolis. I'm doing a show with Scientist. I will be opening for John Osborne. That is also in August. And I have an upcoming show this Saturday at D Piazza's with General John Mikey and Scientist. Yeah, that's
excellent.
Yeah.
Rude Blue.
As in for me, like Isla mentioned, we're gonna be at the new Scotland Yard pub this month on the 25th, Saturday. So we're gonna be spinning there with Sounds and Pressure. And then I believe at the end of the month too, I got asked to do like a live session for this radio show called Roots Locker, and it's run by Michael Jenkins. I guess it's based in England. So I'm gonna have that up soon. And I do have a YouTube channel if people want to check out my mixes or just what I'm up to. And it should be on the Rude Blue. And that's my Instagram too. And yeah, that's all I know for now. But I'm sure as time progresses, I'll keep you guys updated with whatever events pop up.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Yes, EK.
Well, no, I just really wanted to thank the three of you and Junior for making the time here and for all that you do to keep the music vibrant and fun and keep people out there dancing and reading. Jess, a lot of and what you were talking about as well. But it takes a village, and it takes a lot of people like you all to keep things moving and to keep the scene growing and thriving. So thank you for all your hard work and creativity and love of the music and for doing this. Junior, thank you as always as well.
Yes, indeed. Well, farewell is never easy, but it must be said to LadyEye, Rude Blue, and DJ Terry Dactyl.
Thank you guys.
Please follow us at History of LA Ska on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and join our Facebook group. Please follow me, at Junor Francis. This series is produced by Eric Kohler for Rockery Radio at Rockery_radio. Thanks to everyone for participating, and please spread the word. And in the event that you have one iota of doubt, it must be released effective immediately, because when I was in Portland this past weekend, people were talking about the history of LA Ska. So people are watching.
Well,
people are watching. Yeah, the word is getting out there. History of LA Ska.
That's wonderful to hear. And it's
Yes,
Junior,
yeah.
your tireless efforts and all that you do here to host. And again, Jessica, thank you. Rude Blue, LadyEye, greatly appreciated. And to all of our viewers and listeners, big love and respect to everyone out there. Have a wonderful time, and we'll be back soon. Take care. Junior, thank you. Signing off.
Yes, indeed.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so
Take
much.
care, everyone.